Hi, so this week we are going to be adding our risk assessment and also our contingency plans. So from the announcement, we're going to be turning in the whole project. Okay, so you're going to turn in your project. You want to make sure that you go back and ensure that you've done your resubmissions, any of the feedback that I incorporated for you to possibly fix, because that will count in your final grade. Make sure that you follow the instructions and the rubric as well for optimal scoring. Okay, so the last piece that we're going to add is our project risk assessment and contingencies, okay? And I put that down also down here in part number 5. So in this module, you're going to add a risk assessment, and I am providing you a template to do that. It's just a basic template that will take care of all of this area for your risk assessment part of the assignment. And then you need to put 3 contingencies for, well, at least 3 risk areas you have to identify, and then put some contingencies as what you would do as a project manager if these risks happen, okay? And then according to the instructions, you label your work project risk assessment and contingency. So you'll add that as a heading towards the end of your paper. And then you will add the risk assessment template in there. And also you need at least a 1-page document that maybe describe a little bit about what risk assessment is as your little intro part to that. And then put how you list those 3 different risks, and then put a paragraph in there, at least a paragraph, as to how you would, if those risks would happen, what's your contingency plan? What is your backup plan that you would do to help correct and fix that risk? So just make sure you have your cover page, your project proposal, everything that you've been doing each week, your scope statement with the work breakdown structure, your critical path assignment, and then this is going to be new for number 5, your risk assessment and contingencies. Okay, that's newly created for module 7. And then make sure that you write the couple of paragraphs about what risk is and then your contingency plans. And then you need your references all compiled, so don't just add each paper. You need to have the references all compiled at the end in alpha order and in APA format, okay? And if you did create any appendices, you could go ahead and add those to the end. It's a better flow if you have all your diagrams going right in order with your proposal and then your scope, work breakdown structure, etc. And then you're going to have, it says assemble all items into at least a 5 to 12 page Word document. I believe you're going to have a lot more than 5 by the time you submit this in there, so I'm not sure why it said probably going to have more than 12 pages by the time you submit your writings plus all your diagrams. But anyway, make sure that you have all of these items up here, because that's how you're going to be graded in the rubric according to the instructions in the rubric, to make sure that you have all those parts and your references compiled at the end in APA. We are covering risk management this week, so I put some links in here to help you with risk. Go back to our discussions where we did talk about some risks in 5 and 6, and we grading the knowns and unknowns of risk, and then also contingency planning. Okay, down here I just made a little comment. A risk management plan has many parts to it, but for this assignment, that risk assessment template is just basic, simple. You can just go ahead and use that as your risk assessment, and then make sure you do your little paragraph about what risk is, and then your contingencies. How would you fix those 3 risks if they happen? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the risk assessment template, okay? And I've already filled out a little bit of this. I'm going to go down here, because what we're going to do is once we plot that out, then we're going to go down here and take a look to find out what is our risk level rating and what are our actions, okay? So I have my cybersecurity training proposal form that I did for the very first assignment where you had to do your proposal, okay? And then when I created my proposal, I made sure that I had some risk identified here. Okay, if you didn't identify risks or enough risk, you may have to go back and look at this again and look at see what, make sure you have at least three. I have five, but make sure that you have three. Don't go crazy with like 10 because you don't have time, but at least for the grading of the rubric, you have three. Now, these up here were risks of not implementing the cybersecurity training awareness, okay? So those are risks as well, but we're going to concentrate on major risks for the project. So what I did is I pulled these five over, identifying the constant emerging changes, ensuring employees take the training, etc. Okay, so let me show you what I did. All I did was populate over here my risk assessment, okay, with those five items. So now to find out what my consequence or likelihood is, and then I get my risk rating, what I do is I'm looking at this and I'm going to say, okay, so when we're going through the cybersecurity training, what's going to happen is there's going to be all kinds of new phishing scams and all kinds of new hacking scams that are coming out on a daily basis, okay? So as we're trying to get our employees to go through this cybersecurity training, it's going to be like, oh, we got to keep up with everything. So we have to make sure once they go through the training, we have constant updates going on, where maybe the employees would watch another video once every month with some new updates and new risks that are happening out there. So this could be considered, we're going to go down and I'm going to say, okay, so identify the constant emerging changes, and we make sure we have a cybersecurity team that's always up on this. So that could be probably, I'm going to say for my consequence would be a moderate risk, okay? And is it going to happen rarely, unlikely? It's possibly going to happen, okay? Or I'm going to say number 4, likely. It's likely going to happen because we know that these phishing scams and stuff and all this kind of cybersecurity goes on. So I'm going to put down that, and this is, just using your best judgment. And when you're working with project management teams and you put your heads together, you may come up with different um, risk ratings than another team that's working on the same project, because it just depends on your expert judgment of your team members and things like that. But for this case, I'm going to say, let's say it's a moderate risk and that it's most possibly going to happen. So my moderate risk is going to be 3, and my consequence and my likelihood is 3. So let me just pop up here. And this second page is just if you had more than 7 risks, which I don't think you should. But so our consequence is going to be 3, and then our likelihood is 3. Okay. Now I come down to my rating here, my risk matrix, and what we do is we look at where we fell on the graph here. So if I'm at moderate, and then possible is 3. So let me go down to possible and go across. So our risk rating is going to be medium. Okay, you see it in the yellow. Okay, so now I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to put my risk rating as medium. Okay, and this is what, and then you can center this if you want to get, particular or whatever. But as long as you have information in there, that's fine. Okay, so then after you go down and you do all your consequences, likelihoods, find out what your ratings are. You could put the color in here too if you want to put the yellow background color just to make it stand out a little bit better. You could do that as well. You don't have to, you're not required. So anyway, you go down and do all of this, and then over here, what are you going to do to make sure, like, if this happens, which most likely this is going to happen because it's ever changing, and then you're going to just put in here, what's your contingency plan? How are you going to fix that or back that up? And we'll just put a little note in here that the cybersecurity team, will stay up on the emerging changes in attacks, and then put something in there that they will provide maybe bi-weekly or monthly updates to all employees to take little mini trainings on any kind of changes or anything that they may discover. Okay, then let's go down here, ensuring employees take the training. Okay, so this is a big deal. We need to make sure that the employees are taking the training. Okay, because it's not going to help the business if they're not taking the training and being on the lookout for these phishing scams and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to say my consequence here is if they don't take this training, it's going to be a severe risk. And then over here, if we look at the likelihood, is it almost certain? It's almost certain that we're going to have an employee that slips through the cracks, maybe doesn't take the training or maybe didn't pay attention to the training, and they're going to open up a PDF that's going to send a virus out across the whole business network. So I'm going to put in here that it's severe risk and almost certain that it's going to happen. Working in IT, I have seen this happen before, so I am well aware of the likelihood of this happening because people are not paying attention and following the training what they're supposed to do. Okay, so now let's go down here and look at my matrix. So I have severe and I put almost certain that it's going to happen. Okay, so it's going to be extreme. So then I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to put in here that this is going to be extreme. Okay, all right, and that's red, so we can put red there if we want. Okay, and then you can fix this up if you want to center it, but just as long as you have something in there, that's fine. Okay, so now then I'm going to put, what is going to happen, if this, what's going to happen if something slips through the track and we get the network infected. Okay, so we'll put in there the contingency plans. The cyber security team has software implemented to prevent attacks. Okay, so we probably know that, but then we're going to put in here what can they do. So what they can do is um, go ahead and shut down any kind of entrance to the business systems. So what they'll do is keep anybody from accessing anything until they fix the viruses or clean the viruses or whatever it is that they need to do. So everything, will be shut down from external, no external entry from employees or customers. Whatever their cybersecurity plan is, this is not my 100% background here in cybersecurity attacks, but you can probably even go out on the web and do some Google searching as, what does a cybersecurity team do when they're attacked? So I'm just kind of giving you little samples here to get you started, okay? But you can go ahead and, just Google some stuff, what they do in an event of an attack, okay? So just to make this quick and short, go ahead and then we're going to go with the effectiveness of the training, what's the consequence, the likelihood, and then look on our chart for our risk rating and go down and make sure you have at least 3, okay? And you just use your consequence here, your likelihood, and then you figure it out on the risk matrix. And then this is just the risk level actions, and of course it's kind of just notify management or workplace manager, stuff like that. You don't have to worry about that. It's just another piece that they put in the template, okay? So go ahead and do that, and then go ahead and just copy and paste this template into your Word document, or you can, if you know how to use the insert a Word file function, you can go ahead and do that. You can Google how to do that. Just be sure that you do your little paragraph about what risk assessment is, and make sure you have contingency plans. You can pull it from here and just elaborate a little bit more, Make sure you have those three. So you should have one paragraph at least risk assessment, and then your three more paragraphs of each one of these risks, identify the risk, and you can put in there that this is a medium risk rating and this is the contingency plan if this happens. So just make sure that you have at least a whole page. One is going to be your what is a risk assessment, have some sources to cite things as well, and then go ahead in here and put your contingency plans. You need to elaborate a little bit more in your paper than what you've put in here. Okay, so good luck with that and thank you.